What in the world is going on today with raising kids? I'm Dr. Michelle Alden. I'm a parenting coach and family therapist, and I want to talk today with some straight talk about parenting and what's going on with our kids today. I believe that in our country we are raising kids that feel like or being taught that they cannot do anything, that nothing is their fault, that they're not responsible, and that really concerns me. I have more current statistics that are saying that 1 out of 4 kids has mental health problems, or patients sometimes in psychiatric wards. And I started doing this work with kids that had trauma, things that happened to them before they were even born, a lot of adoption-related issues, attachment issues. And so I'm not talking about those things that have happened, but even our kids that have mental health diagnosis, that have behavior issues because they have, autism or severe ADHD, things like that. It's still, we want to have the mindset that our goal is to help our kids to be functional and to be able to exceed expectations, right? And I wonder sometimes with the rising rates of kids with problems, because this is going to become the norm, right? Like if you're neurotypical, are you then going to be an outcast in the society? Are you not, or is it going to be expected for you to carry the load for everyone else if we continue to raise kids that are led to believe that they cannot do anything because they have disabilities, that nothing is their fault, that they're being bullied, not treated right, that they should be able to be whatever they want to be, and they have no responsibility to contribute to our society in any way. I think we're driving our kids crazy with this. What we teach our kids, it really does matter. It matters what we teach our kids, and it matters our mindset about it. And I've been thinking, maybe rather than thinking that we have these dysfunctional families, I was thinking maybe we have a dysfunctional society. I have worked for over 10 years with Medicaid families, and I feel like there's just this desire to want to get things that for the kids, like get services for the kids, and to keep them kind of stuck in this place of needing these services for a long, long time. And I don't like that. I don't feel like that's what mental health counseling and family therapy should be about. I feel like it has a lot to do with getting the help and moving on and being able to function. So I come from it from that point of view, and also like just wanting to see these changes happen and wanting to see parents take back being a parent. I was listening to Dr. Laura, and I don't know if people even know who she is anymore, but she has a podcast now where she kind of goes back into some of her old episodes, and she was doing an episode on families, and she's very straightforward, and so I really appreciate that, because I feel like so few people really are nowadays, and those that are get a lot of backlash. And I find that I really want to encourage and support people, and I really want to encourage and support parents in particular, but I also feel like we have to like pay some attention to what's happening here and not just accept that. I think that there are a lot of people that are making a lot of noise. Maybe it's a smaller group of people than we realize, but they are making so much noise it seems like this is normal. This is what's normal now. This is how our society is. This is what everybody thinks. This is what everybody believes. And I don't think so. And these are the same people that really are not required to do anything. And sometimes I think that those of us that don't have that same mindset or the same worldview or even the same thoughts about God and country and all of it, are afraid to say things because we don't want to make it worse, because these people are so loud and so vocal about what they believe and how everyone should believe this way, and if we don't believe this way, they hate us, you know. And it's so funny because like that's what they're saying about us, is that because we don't believe this way, we're hating. And but I think that when we look at this part of society where a lot of times it's adults that are not working full-time, that are doing that are taking more and more and doing less and less to actually improve our lives, to improve their kids' lives, to move them forward into a good direction. So it's like, I think that we get stuck, right? Like if our kids are depressed or have anxiety or other things that we label as disabilities, because disabilities means that you can't work, you can't contribute, you get things that you did not earn, and that mindset is hurting our kids. And the more I've worked with families, I've seen too that there's a rise of parents now that have come out of that. They were kids that had mental health issues, still have them, and now they're adults and they're raising kids with mental health issues, and everything is still kind of in this cycle. And I'm not saying that this is true for every family that I work with. In fact, the people that hire me to help them are looking for ways to rise above this. And so I really appreciate that. But there is this mindset that I feel like does have to be addressed, where when something's going wrong with our kids, there's this mindset in our society to go and find all these things to fix it, whether it's medication, whether it's more social work, whether it's more counseling, whether it's, this program or that program, and parents looking for respite because it's all so hard and are worn out and all of this, right? But I was starting to look at it more in terms of our society, and I was like, what if our society is the dysfunctional family? Rather than looking at like, oh no, we have all these dysfunctional families in our society. I was like, I think our society that would set this up, that would set it up, there is a part of our country that wants to keep you locked in to needing all of these services, to be needing all of these things. So I'm not trying to be political here. I'm just saying I can see the effects on families, and I can see the effect on our kids when this is what they know. So if you think about 1 in 4 kids having a severe mental health disability of some kind, and our kids and the kids that maybe don't, becoming a smaller number, this is going to change everything about school, about further education, about jobs, about all of that in our society. And so I think that it is a parenting issue. It is a parenting issue. And the lack of parenting skills and the lack of will to be a parent is kind of gotten to the point of a national emergency. That's what I think. And this podcast I was listening to by Dr. Laura, like, she just says it right out. She's like, it is a national emergency. And she, is not afraid to say, like, it's your fault, parents. And I have a lot more compassion, I feel like, for parents, because I work with you all the time, and I work with parents that really do want to make a difference, that really are trying to make changes, and they know that they have to make those changes as a parent. And the people that don't see it that way, they're not going to hire a parent coach. They're going to continue to look for more and more services for their kids, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. It's just causing more and more problems in our society, and I don't think it's going to get you where you want to be or get you where your kids want to be. Everywhere we go now, we see unruly kids, because kids aren't just taught, they're not taught basic manners. They don't have to say please and thank you. They can grab things just like the parents grab things out of their hands. They don't know that parents and adults are in charge, because they're asked to give their opinion or their choice about every detail of their life. Like, part of being in charge is that you have a plan, and this is how it's going to be. And yes, there's going to be times when we don't like the plan. We don't always like the plan of the boss or the school or whatever, but that's part of living in a society, is having those things and knowing that we can require that. And it's going to require, if we want to stop driving our kids crazy, it is going to require love and attention and touch and care and time, and teaching our kids responsibility and teaching them how to use their executive functioning skills and how to get out of the emotional part of their brain. And it's not that we want to take away their emotions or disregard their emotions, but we can, I want people to be identify all the emotions, but I also want to know, what are we going to do about it? I can be really upset. I can be really sad. I can be really disappointed. I can be really angry even, but I still have to fall into norms of what I'm going to do about that. And I feel like the more we can govern ourselves about that, we can teach our kids how to govern themselves, because there's no reason really that just because I'm having a bad day or somebody looked at me wrong, that everybody else that's on my Facebook page has to get this anger directed at them about a situation. You know, it's like, come on, let's find some better coping skills besides degrading everybody around us because they didn't believe or do or think the way we thought they should. What are we teaching our kids? I mean, it is laughable to me, because I don't understand why people can't see that we're passing this on, that this is what we're passing on, division and divisiveness, and when really we need to be teaching responsibility and giving directions and inspiring our kids to do great things. What are they going to do to change the world? What is their part in that? And this includes, I think, having pride in our country. When we take that away from kids, they don't even have anything to stand on. If everything is wrong and bad and horrible, and all these people are just out to bully you because they think that you're wrong the way you're doing things or whatever, it's like this whole mindset is not going to get us anywhere where we want to go. So I've also encouraged a lot of parents to have values and to build an attachment to their faith and their religion, and to teach their kids that. And yes, their kids will make their own decisions about that, and some of them may rebel against it or whatever, but I think as long as they're in your home, like, they need to know what you believe and what you think, and we do our best to train our kids in the way they should go, and then they get that autonomy to go their way, and it becomes part of their journey to figure that out. But if we don't give kids a foundation, an anchor, they aren't going to have anything, and it's going to be more and more craziness. And I believe that's what we're seeing. We have so many kids that have high levels of depression and anxiety, and I think that it is a parenting issue, because even in our homes, if our kids are anxious, depressed, like, I want you to have the skills to know how to help them. If you need to get mental health counseling to deal with that stuff so that you can do that better as a parent, I think that's great. And that's why I do parent coaching, because I want to help parents to be able to give their kids the skills and the tools. And more, I would say probably it's becoming more common with the parents that I work with that are telling me, well, I wasn't raised that way, or I have the same mental health illness. And I think it's time to do something different before it's too late. Let's do something different than what we see happening. Parents, I also think it's important to realize that real happiness does not, and fulfillment does not come from just getting things, right? And we know that, and I think we know that. I mean, I believe that we should know that, but maybe you don't. Maybe you think that it is getting more things, and that if you just want your kids to be happy, and you are appeasing them, and you want them to be quiet, or you want them to not have a temper tantrum, and so we put something in their hands, or we give them more electronics, or we give them, where we feel bad or we feel guilty because of how we were raised, and or what what's happened in our family. And sometimes we're just looking for better medication and better services, and we know it's not working. It's definitely not working if the rise of mental health continues to go up. None of this is working. So I think we have a pandemic of mental health problems among kids right now. And I don't think it's because we suddenly got better at diagnosing things. I think it's because we have lost, like I said earlier, parenting skills. We have a lack of parenting skills and a lack of the will to actually parent and be the parent and not, it's part of what we have to do when we have kids is we have to parent, we have to be in there, we have to be teaching. It is a lot of teaching and reteaching and repeating and all of that. And mostly I'm here encouraging you and saying, I get it, I know it's tiring, it's stressful, because I know that I'm working with a lot of parents that have kids that are neurotypical or have mental health issues or have had trauma or come from adoption. And I'm still here with you, but I just have an urgency to say that we have a parenting problem and we need to get help and we need to fix it. We need to see real changes in our health and our mental health. And that's not going to come by being mad at our kids because they're so draining and because they're taking, all of this time and energy away from us. It is a mental health problem that has real intent in the homes to make those changes. And you can do that. Get a parent coach, hire me. I will help you. I want to help you. I've seen hundreds of families turn things around and start to be able to teach their kids to do things differently. And primarily, it's been with families that maybe didn't even know that they wanted these services. They were looking for something for their kids. They got this service through Medicaid or some other way. And I'm telling you, it works to make those changes in the home, and that you can do it with support. And it's phenomenal to see those changes. And I think that when we actively work on that and we start seeing those improvements, we start realizing that it's not that our society is so different that our kids cannot survive in this society. They can, and they can rise above it. And I love to see families that start thriving and kids that start being leaders and start moving forward in their lives from that. I've been doing this long enough now that I'm starting to hear of kids that are graduating from college or, in the military or, have jobs where they're affecting people's lives and making changes themselves or becoming parents themselves. So there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of things that we can do. I'm very proactive, and I believe that you need to be too. So please don't just sit back and look at all of these things that are happening and just think, oh, I guess this is just how it is for our kids. And we have to teach them to be tolerant and how to function and then whatever they want to be and however they want to do it, as long as they're caring about themselves, it'll all be fine. It's not going to be fine. It's going to take parenting, and what you teach your kids now really does matter. That's what I have to say today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thank you.